a full balloon garland like this out of nothing but balloon clusters and your two hands. Keep watching. Hi, I'm Rachel with Bubbly Balloon Co. Welcome to video 2 of our Balloon Garland Basics series. In video 2, we're going to be assembling a balloon garland out of the clusters we made after video 1. If you missed that video or you don't know how to do balloon clusters already, go back and watch that one before you do this, just so we're on the same page. Now there's a lot of ways to go ahead and assemble a balloon garland even out of these clusters. There's probably 10 different ways that you could go about it. I'm going to do a mixture of kind of two techniques that I personally love and find to be the easiest, most versatile, and the easiest to kind of transform along the way if you end up not liking what you see or you want to kind of add on to it or change it as you go. I think these two techniques are the absolute easiest way to do that, and that's what I'm going to show you today. So this is completely personal preference, but for me, I like to take all of my mini clusters and all of my add-ons for the end, and I like to put them aside in either a garbage bag, or I usually use a hamper that I just find to be really convenient, and then I just have the large clusters to focus on at first, and when it's time, all of my minis are in one place and ready for me. So you should do whatever works for you. I just like having them to hand and in one place, and I'm not running around the room trying to chase them when I need a little one, you know? So at this point, we're only gonna need two things to assemble this balloon garland, which is your hands, and I'm gonna be using some 260 balloons. I also use 160s. I think they both work great in one of the colors I use today, which is this sand color. I keep 260s to hand in white because you can use that with just about anything, but when you're doing an install in specific colors where you don't want to risk anything coming through that's a different color, I really recommend buying a batch of 260s or 160s in whatever one of those colors is. And I always keep the bag just in my apron right here where I can get to it very easily. I actually still have some white ones in there from another job. So if you see me like ferreting around like a kangaroo, that's what I'm doing. I'm getting out another 260, okay? So I'm going to start by picking out a large cluster that I want to use for the start of the garland. I'm going to take this guy right here, and I'm actually going to look inside in the little hole here, and I want to find a long neck that looks good for tying to another one. Because what I actually want to do at the start of this garland is tie together a few clusters. I find it's a really easy way to assemble without using a lot of other material. It's very versatile. It does take some hand and finger strength, which can be tricky at first, and I do still use 260s to tie things in as I need to, but I feel like it makes a really good foundation for the garland to tie them together. So I'm going to go ahead, dig around in here, find a neck that feels like it's going to tie and stretch with me like I want, and then I'm going to do the same thing in another cluster. And then I'm going to kind of mash them together and bring those necks together and tie them as well as I can. And in the end, you have this. Now what's really cool about this, I think, is that you can go ahead now and move this as you need to. If you start out with the shape and you want to change it along the way, or once you get to the location or you're ready to hang, it needs to be kind of moved a bit. What if I didn't want all of these in a line like that? Well, you know what? It's really easy to manipulate and reshape however you want. So I'm kind of obsessed with this technique. This is what 3 clusters tied together looks like. So again, I've got my neck pulled out here of this cluster, and I'm going to be tying it to another neck, whatever the longest one I can find on this end is going to be. Now when you start tying clusters together, you're really going to see why it's so important, why in video 1 I said to really tie them together when you're doing 2 balloons. Tie them together as close to the base as possible, leave as much neck available for tying. You're really going to appreciate that room you left yourself when it comes to this step. So at this point we have a basic balloon garland. This is about 5 or 6 feet in length. I want to start giving it some more shape and life, so I'm going to add a couple of these on still, and then I'm going to use the minis to kind of fluff it out and give it extra shape. So I'm going to start with these two 260s that I tied together, and I'm going to make a simple knot inside one of these clusters. We're just going to take the 260 wrap it around in deep there. Okay, you're going to take the end of the 260, wrap it around itself, pull tight. Personally, I like to double knot just to be safe. Okay, now that's on there, and I'm going to go ahead and wrap this 260 in tight to the existing garland and wrap it around several balloons, both in the garlands and in my new cluster that I just added. To keep it safe. Okay, and this is still very mobile, very versatile, still very movable, okay? That's what I love about 260s and tying. They're both made of balloon material. It's not fishing line, it's not a strip, it's not anything else. It's very, very versatile and flexible, and it can move as you want it to. So I'm gonna attach the last cluster now. I'm gonna put it in here. Go ahead and find a good spot to kind of get close to and tie it in with a 260 to make a bigger bubbly end. And now I'm going to start adding in some minis to fill it out. When you get to the end of the 260 and you're ready to move on to another section, you're just gonna wrap it around a bunch of balloons so it doesn't come out and make sure everything stays secure. And now I'm gonna grab some more minis and fill it out along the way. So now I've filled it out, given it a larger base, I've given it more of a tapered end, and we can continue filling it along the way. Now I am gonna leave a bunch of my minis for on-site when I'm actually doing the install, because you never know once you put it up where you're gonna wanna add more and what's gonna be kind of like lacking in spots that you can fill in with those 5-inchers. So again, I'm just tying the 260 to this cluster, getting deep in there so it's not really visible. And then I'm gonna take the 260, I'm gonna get the cluster very close to another section of the garland, and then really just kind of wind it in and wrap it around a bunch of balloons to secure it. This is what the garland is looking like. This is something I'd be ready to hang and then add to it, reshape it as needed once it's on the wall to give it the final look. If you found this video helpful, please give it a like, let me know in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you can watch the rest of the video series and find out what to do from here. How do you actually get this on the wall? How do you make it secure enough so it doesn't fall down? And how do you finalize it and give it a professional polished finish? Thank you so much for watching. I hope you learned something new today. If it wasn't educational, I hope it was at least inspirational. Go ahead and let me know in the comments what you did learn, and I will see you in the next video.